Hello and welcome to KOFISI Connect podcast, your source for a wealth of roundtable discussions on business and cultural news, with insights and trends from my diverse continent of Africa. I'm your host, Sam Imende. Today I'll be putting the spotlight on one of our KOFISI members, Endeavor, and their ScaleUp program for entrepreneurs. I'm very pleased to introduce my guest. Today I have Cheryl Itemere. She's the manager of the entrepreneur experience at Endeavor, which is a global community of high-impact entrepreneurs. I also have to my right Wycliffe Omondi. He's a co-founder of BooPass, which is a booking platform for travel, primarily buses, trains, and also flights. And I have Japheth Dipo, who is the CEO of Dial Africa, which is a customer support tech company with AI-powered solutions. So I have a very interesting panel of entrepreneurs and this program we want to learn more about. So I'll start with Cheryl. ScaleUp is one of the channels that entrepreneurs can enter this your community. What's the criteria for an entrepreneur to apply for a ScaleUp program or to join through this program?
Thanks so much for having me, and super excited to be in the room with Japheth and Wycliffe. So to be able to join the ScaleUp program, we're seeking entrepreneurs that are leading pre-Series A to Series A companies, both locally or regionally. And regionally, that's in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. Basically, also entrepreneurs that have a strong propensity for growth. So whether it's regional growth or international growth, and with a time frame of between 18 to 24 months. So we're really looking at entrepreneurs that want to scale beyond the Kenyan geography. An annual revenue of between $500,000 to $1 million recurring revenue, and a compounded annual growth rate of between 50% to 100%. So as you'll notice at Endeavor, growth is a big factor for one of the things that we do, and that's kind of the criteria that we use to select entrepreneurs to join the program.
Okay, well, so that you have to be quite scaled, right, quite established in your business to be able to be on the trajectory for scale, which is good. And it says you guys select high potential entrepreneurs through a pretty rigorous application process, so this potential that I see with these gentlemen in the room today. How do you assess the potential of these prospective entrepreneurs beyond kind of their those base level criteria and stats?
So we leverage the Endeavor process to assess the potential of these prospective entrepreneurs, and we're looking at it from three areas. The first area is the entrepreneur. Are they a transparent business leader? Do they have the ability to pay it forward? And by paying it forward, we mean not only invest in the next generation of entrepreneurs, but also pay it forward from a mentorship perspective. Do they have the willingness and humility to learn and grow, because that's part of being in the network. And then we look at the business, where the metrics come in. Your growth potential, your revenue. Are you building an innovative product that is going to create jobs and wealth for the region in which you're building in? Are you breaking barriers in what you're building? And then the third piece is timing. So is this the right time for you as an entrepreneur to join the network where we will be able to support you? Is it the right time for your business? Like, are you on the growth to an inflection point where Endeavor would be able to support you achieve your goals? So we look at the three areas. And if one of the areas is not 100% there, then we may say, okay, maybe come back after a couple of months or so, or we will, walk the journey with you, especially if it's on the business side, so that you can get to that level.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And yeah, we can relate a lot to the growth, because in our network and ecosystem, that's our goal, to be able to grow alongside our members and the entrepreneurs that are part of the network. So let's learn more about your businesses. Wycliffe, how did you begin your journey as an entrepreneur, and what problem are you solving through BooPass?
Yeah, thanks for having me. How did we begin our business? So it started as a student entrepreneurship competition called the HALT Prize. So by then, that was around 2017. The competition was, how can you come up with a sustainable business model that can better connect people to good services and people? For us, we chose public transportation. because it's one of the areas that are often ignored, and it's one of the areas that we think have the highest potential. So whether you are e-commerce, whether you are a business, you rely on public transportation. So the quick to it, we competed for HAL prize. We won a grant of $1 million to start the business. We by then were very passionate about the matatu sector, so the intra-city. And that came from the previous guys that have tried it. So Safaricom tried the 1963 card, Google tried the Beba Pay, etc. So then we quickly pivoted to intercity. And then intercity, we handle, the intercity buses, so the likes of Easy Coach, Modern Course. The opportunity came in for SGR. So by then, the late Safaricom CEO, Bob Collymore, was one of our mentors and helped us. So when the government approached Kenya Railways, approached Safaricom to do the ticketing for train, we went, so we partnered with Safaricom and did it. So now we've grown the business to do bus, train, and flights.
Wow, that's a quite a rapid growth trajectory. And our travel sector is quite fragmented at times, especially at the bus level. So I could see that just being an interesting growth sector to be in. So Japheth, just tell us about where your journey began as an entrepreneur and how you're solving what problem are you solving through your business?
Sure. So the journey started in Campus. So I started experimenting with voice technology while in Campus. So we did have something called JECO Tech Expo. So went and did a first prototype there. But then it wasn't as stable. But then the problem we were trying to solve back in Campus was businesses are struggling to grow, and most of them close after a couple of months or years. But the bigger chunk of these businesses, they're stuck with archaic ways of communication and fragmented ways of communication. So you find that if it's the mobile phone, they'd use that to just receive calls. But then if they want to handle traffic coming in from social media or different channels, they have to handle that separately. So it's very fragmented, and you're not able to understand what your consumers are saying about your services or about your products. So we realized businesses, and we have very good founders, great founders who have even greater services, but they don't have products to really help them scale and help them understand their consumer behavior while they're scaling. So that's essentially the gap that we're trying to bridge.
Yeah. Okay, so it's from the communication side of fragmented that all these kind of products have been built on to enable people to listen to their customers and serve them better. Yeah. Excellent. So in terms of now joining this ScaleUp program, I'll go back to you, Wycliffe, or actually stay with Japheth here. You are actually kind of, it's interesting because ironically you're in a service that helps other business scale. But since joining this ScaleUp program, you've only been in, I know, 7 months or so. How has Endeavor's ScaleUp program helped you reimagine or elevate your growth plans for your business?
I mean, I don't think a few minutes would describe how the Endeavor ScaleUp program has been basically instrumental in where we are even as it is right now. Because this year has been really tough for businesses, but I think in having Endeavor come in has really been instrumental because one, we've had multiple programs that has helped us look at growth in a different perspective than we knew as founders. So there's one thing to grow and scale your business while you're alone, but I think with Endeavor, the journey became a little bit more easier because we're given different mentors to work with, people who've actually done it, people who've been there in the industry before. And beyond that, these people do not just help you scale your business, they also work with you and introduce you to potential customers that we've seen. Some of them, in fact, like today, we have a meeting with one of the biggest companies in Kenya, courtesy to Endeavor, because it's the networks that you create through this mentorship sessions, and I think for us it's been a big plus.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's what we want to see, very tangible results and connections that are made. We go to a lot of conferences and there's a lot of incubators, but like, what do you really need and how do we connect you and how do we think about growth in your business? So that's exciting and good luck with that meeting you have. Wycliffe, similar question in terms of how you're on a growth, you're already on a growth journey. A lot of what Endeavor does is help you broaden your perspective about the potential and the journey for growth. How's your experience been in the last 7 months on what you picked up from the ScaleUp journey in terms of how you're thinking about growth in this travel sector?
I think, as Japheth has said, it's a lot to describe in few minutes. And it's been very good. And if I can highlight maybe 3 areas, I think one is the mentorship sessions. Cheryl and the team has really connected us to some of great mentors, some that are even willing to create time on weekends. I think we even met one on a Sunday, etc. And these are very experienced entrepreneurs or very experienced executives that you won't be able to get on any other platform. And to us, those have been very important because some of them have been entrepreneurs. They know the journey, they know the pain points, and most of them, actually, I would say all of them lead up to follow-up meetings. So they are very passionate and willing to help you and sort of give that unfiltered advice. So some of them are very honest and push you to the boundaries, and I think that's been one. Then the other thing is part of the preparation of what Cheryl was talking about, connecting to preparing for the panel session, etc., and looking at our finances, looking at the business model. It has pushed us to really look at our numbers, rethink our growth strategy, etc. And that's something we wouldn't have thought about if we're not in the program. So we would have just, normal day, we are looking at sales, we are looking at growth, we are looking at, hiring, etc. But they've pushed us to think, much bigger. And I think last is the connection. So on a normal day, I wouldn't have met Japheth or sit on the next to each other. But I think so the programs that Endeavor had, we had one recently even at Pezesha, where founders come together, you discuss, you share ideas, etc. And that has really helped us, interact with each other and connect with each other. And sometimes when we joined Endeavor, we were in the middle of fundraising, and Cheryl and the team connected us to different investors. And you see that network is what you need to unlock growth. So those are some of the areas I'll highlight.
Fantastic. And you're currently, Bupass is in which markets?
We're in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is Endeavor opening up your ideas on that?
Yes. And Endeavor is well known everywhere. So even when we with the South Africa team, we told them, we are part of Endeavor, and they're like, we want to be part of those sessions. And like, we can't fly you every day, etc. So hopefully we get into the next level and do it. But Endeavor is everywhere, so it's well known across all those markets.
Right. And that's really important for entry into markets. You're not starting from zero. You have some good leads, some good meetings that you can set up to see if that market is feasible for entry. So we've heard a lot of amazing things about Endeavor. But yes, there are experienced executives and mentors that are part of the ecosystem that you guys have access to, along with peers, right? You guys are learning a lot from each other. But there are, quite a few other accelerator programs and entrepreneur programs in the market. Cheryl, going back to you, what are other things that you think differentiates ScaleUp or just Endeavor's programs from other business trainings or accelerator programs in the region?
At first, I'll start and say the ScaleUp program is not an accelerator. It's just a program. And I'm very, very big on pushing that. And it's because every entrepreneur's experience is different. Right. So the journey that Wycliffe is going through with Bupas is very different for Japheth. And I'll just give an example without giving too much. Japheth is focusing on growth, both locally and regionally. So the kind of support he's getting is more of like commercial introductions and, support on how to make sure that is well aligned. Wycliffe and the team are fundraising and trying to, ensure that the numbers are hit and targets, etc. So the kind of support that he's getting is around that area. So the only areas in which we have kind of like a one-to-many sessions is when we notice a common thread across the entrepreneurs, and then we bring them together. So all these entrepreneurs are looking to access new markets, so we'd have a session on that. All of these entrepreneurs are going to be looking to raise capital, think about talent and retention as they scale, kind of deep dive into what the term sheet looks like as they go from pre-Series A to like Series A and above. So that's how we do it. So essentially, the uniqueness of Endeavor is we treat every entrepreneur as a unique, quote unquote, person or entity. And we only leverage common threads across the different companies to then have one-to-many sessions. We have a global network of experienced entrepreneurs, experienced operators that are able to lend time to us to then support support our scale-up entrepreneurs. And it's beyond a one-off session. So you'll meet with an entrepreneur for 60 minutes, he'll give you his advice, and then we're happy to connect you to take that conversation further. So we're not like gatekeepers. And then the third bit, or the fourth bit is, because we've done this in multiple markets, we have a lot of learnings that we can share. So, for example, if Dial Africa is looking to expand into Egypt, we'll be like, okay, so for that kind of company going into Egypt, these are some of the things you need to think about. We connect you to someone in that market that's building a similar business so that you can kind of make informed decisions. So we really leverage the power of community beyond Kenya and regionally to ensure that our entrepreneurs are set up for success.
Yeah, I love it. And I also like the treating every entrepreneur according to what they need. You're not just kind of put through a factory type of program. We like to say, even in how we treat members, one size fits one, right? And that's how you really develop a unique, customized experience for each entrepreneur. Excellent. I'll go to your challenges that you've been facing. Wycliffe, you're in travel, which I could see kind of the needs around buses and that fragmented market and SGR cornering that segment of the market, but it gets quite competitive and what do you call it? Challenging around flights maybe. But tell me about some of the challenges and barriers that what are the biggest barriers you've faced in terms of growing your company, whether it's on a B2B level or tech level? What would you say is one of your biggest challenges?
Yeah, I think some of there are many challenges.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think top has always been how to grow B2B, especially transport in Kenya and Africa is very fragmented, and how to think about that market, long sales cycle in B2B, etc. Good, we have some traction. We have a couple of bus operators, the whole train, and more than 400 airlines. But how to think about growing that, like scale it properly, that meets venture-backed business and the scale required for Endeavor entrepreneurs has been a challenge. So the Endeavor team has really helped us think about that, and a lot of the mentorship sessions has been around marketing, scaling, etc. I think the other challenge has been how to tell our story when doing fundraising, and how to pitch better. I think last week we had a very good session about telling the story, looking at the numbers, etc. And that has been very a big challenge, especially on fundraising. So with Kenyan or African, it's very easy. So when I go to New York or I go to an investor in Europe and try to pitch to them, why 70% of Kenyans use public transport, etc., it needs to be in a way that makes sense to them. So that has been a bigger challenge. And also just thinking about technology. So Bupas, when we were doing it, when we were starting, it was like Kenyan, etc. But now we are in 4 active markets and looking to scale to more. How do we think about consolidating technology? How do you think about unit economics? How do you think about tech stacks, etc.? So the advisor I was mentioning from Endeavor that came in on Saturday really had a session with not just Sonny and I, so Sonny is the other co-founder, not just Sonny and I, but having with some senior tech members in our tech team members, and really listening to their concerns and listening to how we need to grow the team, etc. And to Cheryl's point about customized program, it shows that if we were to go to any other accelerator, it will day one you do this.
Yeah.
So Japheth's problem will be the same as my problem, but this one is actually not just on the founders but on the whole team. So those are some of the challenges that we've been facing.
Yeah, excellent. Japheth, similarly, what keeps you up at night as you're thinking about growth, and then for you as you're looking to enter new markets, where do you see the future of your company as we think about how people will work in the future and what support needs they'll have? Yeah.
Sure. I think that's a really good question. I think so for us, it's the things that keep me awake most times of the week. Really, I think I'm gonna first echo what Wycliffe has said. I think I'd probably look at it from a brand storytelling perspective, where now you need to be able to communicate your brand properly. So you need to make sure you have a good team in terms of creating like a good compelling story, to basically make sure you have a proper art of storytelling. So if you go to investors in different parts of the world, it becomes easier for you to tell your story without struggling. So I think that's one. And then 2 is making sure you have the right team, and then how do you retain this team so that they don't leave. So I think that's one of the things Endeavor has really helped us really to kind of hone, so that then you're able to, first of all, get the right talent, and then how do you then keep this talent? Because in our field, it's very hard to find good talent, and if you find good talent, you probably might want to nurture them. So what we've done is we have programs that we partner with different universities, and then we mentor these guys, but then we realized a lot of times most of these guys would then be poached by Microsoft or Google or Paystack, and then you're like, so I took you in and trained you, and so it's been quite tough. So I think we had multiple sessions with a mentor, and they taught us on how to approach such scenarios and how to make sure that you don't lose your head while you're at it. I think those are the main 2 challenges that we face in the business. And I think for us, what the future looks like, I think we're trying to mainly automate most of our services. Customer support is not supposed to be that difficult. Retaining your customers as a business is not supposed to be that difficult. Understanding your consumer behavior, like achieving customer satisfaction, is not supposed to be difficult. So, and 70% of businesses in Africa are still stuck with archaic ways of communication, where they still either use a handset. So you find that someone, when they're starting their business, they're stuck to a handset, and that's the market in Africa. And let's start with Kenya, for example. The market in Kenya is very different from the market in Nigeria. Yeah. So in Kenya, if I approach a customer, they'd be like, "You built this in Kenya?" Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they'd be like, they'd probably take time to, believe that this would work for them. Yeah. But in Nigeria, it's so easy. You go to a customer, you pitch, and they pay for a whole year.
Come on, Kenyans.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's a bit different. It's more of like, at home you don't get like the flowers you deserve, but when you go to a different market, maybe the market is more mature, I'd say, compared to the Kenyan market. depending with the service that you offer. So for the future for us is quite interesting. So we're looking to eventually tap into the Europe, Latin American markets as well. That's where the competition is. Our competitors are actually giving us around for money here locally. We've got people like Zoho, Zendesk. So we also want to go to the market and give them around for their money. So that's what the future looks like. Yeah. And that's why we have Endeavor on our side.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Oh, we definitely use Zoho. But we're open to source out. But we've recognized the power of that. Artificial intelligence, of course, has become a bit of a buzzword as you're talking about your services. You do mention that on your site, that you harness some of the power towards these market solutions. Can you give us just a little insight on how you use AI in your support services without giving away your secret sauce?
I mean, there isn't a secret sauce, really. It's just, it's there for people to experiment with. Mm-hmm. But I think for us, we experiment a lot with AI in different ways. Funny enough, I got that question yesterday from a client, and they were asking if we have these capabilities. And so I think for us, mainly we use AI to help businesses, one, understand their consumer behavior, and then two, retain these particular customers. So how we do it with helping them understand their consumer behavior is we've incorporated AI to analyze voice conversations in real time and also analyze text conversations. So then it would tell you in real time if the customer is happy, sad, neutral, or mad about your services. Mm-hmm. And then it would then give you recommendations of how you should approach it to make sure that the customer is basically, if it's sad, then it should give you recommendations on what to do about it, right? And then to retain customers, how we do it is basically we have something called churn predictability. So if you have, for example, if you're talking to a customer and then this customer, based on how the AI analyzes the conversation, if the AI analyzes this conversation and says you have 50% chance of losing this customer, then you want to trigger a campaign to retain this customer. Mm-hmm. So essentially, those are the major tools that we use it. We have other ways that, of course, we exploit it. So, for example, if you went to an organization like a bank, for example, they usually have QA and QC departments, especially to analyze like calls and pick like irate customers, but then they have to do it manually right now. So with the AI tool, it analyzes all the calls in real time. Then it would only pick the bad calls or maybe irate customers, and then push this to the right team.
Supervisor.
Yeah. Push this to the supervisor. So the supervisor doesn't have to manually go through and listen into every call, because that then takes a lot of the time. So we basically are removing the need for you to do mundane tasks. We're not trying to replace the need for human interaction. We're just trying to blend in and make the humans work easier.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think people are, that fear factor of is it replacing jobs, but it's a powerful tool that if you realize, hey, we can actually use this to make you focus on really the value added parts of your business. That's where it should be used. I'm very kind of excited, and I feel like this conversation could go on. We'll kind of wrap up there. I just wanted to, first, a lot of our audience is, I'm sure, eager to know, I want to be part of that community, or how do I get plugged in? So Cheryl, I know this is halfway through your cohort. There's another 5 months or so left. Tell us a little bit about, how this cohort, what happens afterwards, and then if anyone's interested in being part of the community, check out their website. What can they do?
Awesome. So yes, this particular cohort is going to be going through until September, but a few entrepreneurs will continue till December. Again, because it depends on where you are on your support roadmap. We have a couple of entrepreneurs that are going through what we call the selection process, where they're now on that path to join the Endeavor Network more faster than the rest. So they will be going through what we call a local selection panel next month, and then that will determine what the next steps look for them. But in regards to the ScaleUp program, we have a second cohort that's going to be we'll be having a call for applications in September. So folks can look out for that on our LinkedIn. We'll be posting that very soon. And for more information, they can check our website or email me at cheryl.itemere@endeavor.org.
All right, awesome. You guys have heard where to get plugged in. If you want also more information, a lot of I think you keep information of your entrepreneurs on your website and in the directory as well. So Boopass, any of your travel needs, you know where to go. If you're having any customer service support needs, please check out Dial Africa. And this is just kind of a small window into the type of entrepreneurs and high impact entrepreneurs that are part of this ScaleUp program. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this morning of KOFISI Connect podcast.
Thank you.
All right.